What's up, everybody? It's your boy Chris. It's your boy Chris. Here at Financipation, this channel is all about making money. It's all about saving money. It's all about building generational wealth and financially emancipating yourself from generational poverty. So throughout the course of this channel, I interview and I meet a lot of people that claim to be boss chicks. They claim to be high value men, and they never are. One thing I'm loving about this individual who I'm talking to right now, this amazing young woman right here, Marsha Elle, is that she legit is an actual boss chick. She's an inspiration to like a lot of my cousins. She's an inspiration to a lot of the women that I know. And this woman is killing the game financially. She's killing the game as a model. She's killing the game basically as an entrepreneur. And I was really excited to basically be able to interview this phenomenal person. So first and foremost, Marsha Elle, how are you doing this? How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Hi, Financipation. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. We appreciate it. So, all right, your time is very valuable. So let's go in. So my first question for you, Marsha Elle, is this. Let's start at the beginning. Where are you from? And I guess where were you born and raised?
I was born in Fort Liberty, Haiti, the northeast part of Haiti. I came to Orlando when I was like 9 months, and I'm currently based in Miami, Florida.
Okay. So you are of Haitian descent.
Correct, 200% Haitian.
Got you. That's a beautiful thing. I've been to your country actually a couple times. It's kind of weird because America kind of has this stupid little whatever how they try to portray Haiti. Guys, I've been there a few times. It is a beautiful country. I would say outside of Italy and Costa Rica, it's easily one of the most beautiful countries I've ever been to in my life. So people, if you get a chance, check out Haiti. I'm telling you right now, you're gonna love it. All right, so you are an immigrant, Marsha Elle. Okay, so I'm curious, what are some things that I guess kind of blew your mind when you first came to the United States? What are some things about America that kind of blew your mind, I would say?
Well, I definitely came to the States very young, but I do feel like America is the land of opportunity, as they say. It's a beautiful place. I love the United States, and my patriotism is at a high level. I do believe if you apply yourself, there's really no limits to what you can do. So I've had such a pleasant experience being raised in the United States.
Got you. I always tell a lot of Americans that I myself have actually lived in four murder capitals. I've lived in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I've lived in Newport News, Virginia. I've lived in Philadelphia a couple of years, and I've also lived in Compton. And those are hoods. Those are pretty bad areas depending on what you're into. But I always tell Americans, until you actually travel abroad and you start going to like the third world portions of like Egypt or the third world portions of like Africa or certain parts of the Caribbean, those are real hoods. And the fact that in America, like you were saying earlier, Marsha Elle, that you can literally be anything that you want. All you have to do is work hard and apply yourself. Yeah, we know if you look like our complexion, there's gonna be doors that could potentially be slammed in your face. But in America, you literally can become anything that you want. And I always tell people that until you travel abroad and see kind of how poor people overseas live, you don't really kind of understand, I would say, kind of the opportunities that we have, I would say, in this country. Marsha, I'm curious, Americans, we always talk about, I kind of alluded to this earlier, we always talk about like just different disadvantages that immigrants have when they come to America. I myself grew up around a lot of immigrants. I actually married an immigrant myself. But in your opinion, what are some advantages I would say that you had in regards to being an immigrant?
For sure. I think being an immigrant, especially having immigrant parents, you value education because you know that is a luxury in those countries. You know, you kids would want to go to school, but if you can't afford the uniforms or you can't afford your tuition, you're not able to go. And I come from a place where my father had to drop out of school, work to pay for his siblings, my uncles and aunts, to go to school. Then he goes to school and becomes an attorney. And so his work ethic and everything just passed on to me being here in the United States. I had to take everything, I had to be grateful for everything. And my uncles always told me, entitlement is everyone's greatest downfall. Don't ever feel entitled, and that everything that comes across, use it to your advantage. And there are a lot of advantages being in the United States for sure.
Got you. So you would say definitely just kind of talking to some of your uncles and just from some of the males and females in your family, basically being an immigrant, you realize quickly on there are advantages that this country gives you and to never be entitled, to never feel like, basically to never feel entitled.
Yeah, for sure. Because no one really owes you anything. all around. And at least if you have that in your mindset, you'll go hard and you will dedicate yourself to whatever your purpose is, whatever the craft is that you're looking to perfect. You really have to have that mindset that everything needs to be earned. And with that, you'll enjoy the fruit of your labor, for sure.
Gotcha. So you would definitely say there's a certain perspective that you gain being an immigrant.
For sure. Absolutely.
Got you. No, I could not. I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. All right, Marsha. So just so everyone knows, full disclosure, this young lady right here and my wife are very, very, very good friends. She's I consider her one of my wife's day ones. And one of the coolest things about Marsha Elle is that when I actually first met this young lady, I was at this party, and if you know anything about Miami, or whatever, you've heard about something called Art Basel, right? It's this humongous, like this bomb party. People, I'm telling you, if you're a bachelor, check it out. It's worth it. So basically, I walk into this club or whatever, to this lounge, and Marsha's about to sing. So I'm like, okay, all right. I grew up in it. All right, I'm a black man or whatever, Black American, so I know when a person can sing. So she said she's about to get on the stage and do something. I said, I'm thinking it's gonna sound okay, decent. People, she gets on the stage and straight rocks the mic. I'm talking about everybody was like, wow. So Marsha Elle, this girl can sing. Not sing, she can sing. And so basically, I just want to know this. You have a passion for singing. Just tell me a little bit about this and kind of tell me, I guess, how that came to be.
Yes, I definitely found my voice when I was like 5 years old. I remember there was a production being put on by my elementary school. And I remember not getting the lead role. And I was like, there's just no way. Wow. And I was like, I got really upset about it. But I said, one day I'm gonna have the solo. I promised, like the next year I got the solo, and I knew from that point on that music and being on stage, really just performing and connecting with people on stage was definitely a gift of mine. And I, from there on, been songwriting, singing ever since. And I released 2 albums, Champion and Brave. And my latest single, I Am Beautiful, has been doing very well. I performed it at the Grand Ole Opry. And it's a gift from God, and I'm just humbled to be able to have an opportunity to share it with the world.
You know something that's really beautiful that you just did, Marsha Elle? When you started talking about singing, I literally saw your eyes start to glint. Seriously, like you started literally beaming. I mean, that's pretty dope. I mean, seriously, I can tell that is a huge passion of yours. And these 2 albums, like, all right, cool. This is a financial channel, so I want to basically help that bottom line of yours. Where if they wanted to buy these 2 albums, I think you said they were called Champion and Brave, where could they buy them at?
Go to iTunes, Google Play stores, anywhere, any digital media outlet you could find I Am Beautiful remix. You could just put in Marsha Elle, ELLE, and you'll find it. And enjoy it, stream it, share it. It's good music.
All right, I will definitely be doing it. Everybody go out there and support this young lady, seriously, because I'm telling you, the woman can sing. Not sing, she can sing. Mm-hmm. The music industry, how did you get signed, and what's the industry like? Because literally half the dudes I grew up with all wanted to be rappers or whatever, so and half my cousins still want to be rappers. So what's the music industry like, and how did you get signed, I guess? Because just on a side note.
Yes, the thing with the music industry, you really have to be diligent and determined, and you need to be able to accept a lot of no's, but not take them personal, because that's all redirection. So I will say that I was signed to a publishing deal when I was actually 18, and it was super awesome. This is before the body positivity, where even intersectionally, like Blacks were not on the covers of Vogue and things like that. This is, over 10 years ago. So there was still not much room. And we also didn't have as much access to social. So I did get signed there. It was a cool deal. But if you know anything about the music business, it is the toughest industry, I think. Even outside of corporate America, this is literally one of the toughest industries because you really can't please everyone and no one's ever happy, but you have to remember why you write music, why you're a performer, and understand that this craft has to be more personal than as something to be, it's not always lucrative. To be honest, if you look back in music, TLC was on tour, #1 selling records and girl group, and they were broke. They said, I'm filing bankruptcy. Like, it's the reality, because that is a very tough industry to around financiation to make a substantial return ROI on your investment. You will invest a lot, and it's very hard to, net a profitable amount, especially when you're on the grassroots level.
Got you. What, wow. You say it's more competitive than corporate America, and it's the most competitive. It's very interesting you say that. What advice, I got 30-year-old cousins, dudes I used to hoop with that are in their 30s that still want to be rappers. And I got obviously young kids, young cats or whatever, much younger than that, 18, 19, that want to be rappers as well. What advice, I guess, Marsha Elle, would you give a person who wants to break into the music industry, I would say?
I would definitely say it does require a lot of sacrifice, and sacrifice sometimes means having a second job or having a plan. When I started my plan, it was to go to college, get a profession so that I could pay for this dream of mine if I wouldn't have gotten signed. And the reason behind that is a dream without money is a nightmare. It's still a dream, but it keeps you up at night and you're starving. You don't want to be a starving musician. So always understand that there's a balance. You might do a 9 to 5, but make sure that 5 to 9 is you invest in your craft, and then musicians write at night anyway. Don't limit yourself to just music. Because let's look at Sean Carter or Jay-Z, You look at, Puffy, you look at,
even
Ross, all these rappers.
50, yep.
50, oh my gosh, they've diversified themselves, from Smart Water. 50 Cent is one of my favorites rappers as it relates to his entrepreneurship. Started early. He definitely did 1 or 2, maybe 2 albums, but it was Get Rich or Die Trying was his one album that really did so well. He was connected to Dr. Dre. Dr. Dre produced the song. He did great, but he understood the business. And he understood, okay, I'm going to start Vitamin Water. I'm going to start producing. I know that my talent doesn't stop at the mic. And I would definitely want people of color to remember that your kids don't have to be athletes. They don't. We need an Elon Musk of color. We need the Jeff Bezos. We need all types of innovative thinkers. Okay, we need the Steve Jobs here. We need we have those Oprahs. We have those journalists. We need that. So it's okay to diversify yourself. I know so many great doctors that are great singers that do music on the side, that. Open your mind to being open, to refining all of your skills.
Definitely. Yeah, I was always more of a Tupac and Nas kind of guy, but I do got to give 50 his props with this. He did, he had one great album. And from there, the dude went to so many different other industries and stuff like that. The man just got done performing at the Super Bowl. And you can say the same thing about Dre. You can say the same thing about, even if you want to go to a more musically inclined dude. I got my MBA from Drexel University, and there was a guy named basically John Legend or whatever, who went to Wharton School of Business right down the street. That guy basically was working on Philadelphia's Wall Street, and then essentially started basically making music at night. And that's basically, he became the John Legend that we know of or whatever. Like you said, Marsha Elle, he had his quote unquote career and he made music on the side. And most people would not think of John Legend as Wall Street. As a finance or a Wall Street guy. That's what he went to school for. They would think of him as a musician. And like you yourself were saying, as Black people, there's so many different things we can do besides just being ballers, besides just being athletes, and besides being rappers. And sometimes you kind of have to look at what some of these athletes did, and what some of these entertainers did, and how they basically are known for something completely different from music. No one considers Will Smith a rapper anymore.
That's great.
Yeah, George Foreman, he's one of the greatest heavyweight champions of all time. No one considers him a boxer. They all consider him the George Foreman grill. So I like how you said that basically, no matter what you decide to go into or whatever, as a Black people, we're talented enough to basically diversify. As people, period, we're talented enough to diversify and go into something else. I love that. So you would say, if you want to be a rapper, have a 9 to 5 and basically have a career and do it basically when you can, that way you can produce quality, what you want to actually produce.
And if I could add one last thing, don't be a slave to anything.
Yeah.
When you limit yourself to just one thing, then you can be starved, because that is your one thing. You always want to have resources. Of course, God is the ultimate source, but the resources it should be so that you can leverage and move around the way you want to move around. Another great example, is at this time, Kanye is a very smart billionaire. I mean, but if you look at how much he believed in himself from the onset, and you can that is mind blowing. The type of faith. So definitely understand how much sacrifice it takes, and you need to diversify yourself.
Definitely. On a side note to that too, I'll tell anybody that's listening to this podcast, you're smart enough. You're smarter, and you can work harder than you actually ever realize. Just because you went to school, in my case, I went to school to do engineering or whatever, but I branched off into so many different things. I mean, I have so many different hobbies that I've made money off of, from professional kickboxing, which no one would ever consider that, to starting businesses, to basically podcasting, to modeling or whatever. I'll talk more about that later. There's so many, if you are smart enough to basically figure out how you're gonna make money, you're smart enough to figure out how you can make money in more than one industry. And a lot of times we limit ourselves. I'm a lawyer, I'm gonna be a lawyer. I'm a musician, I'm gonna be a musician. I'm a ball player, I'm gonna be a ball player. If you are smart enough to pick a career, you're smart enough to also pick a side hustle. You're smart enough to pick a business. You're smart enough to pick something else. And that's something that a lot of times as we as people, we kind of need to basically realize. It's just like Marsha Elle said, you can diversify and do so many different types of things. So, yep. All right. One thing you mentioned earlier, and we were talking about this, and I really love it because once again, I'm a mechanical engineer and I got an MBA. So I obviously school was very important to me. But I love how you talked about education. Go into more detail about that, Marsha Elle. Like, I want to know, what is your educational background first off, and why was it so important to you?
Yeah, for sure. I started college at the age of 16. I had an opportunity to dual enroll, and I remember just like my eyes lighting up, like, oh, I could go to college now. So I remember just writing a check. My mom had given me a checkbook, so I could feel responsible. So I would have to pay like my transportation fees or whatever I needed for school. And I remember just writing a $35 check to a community college, Valencia College, in Orlando. And I went upstairs to take a CPT test. I tested into college level, and I was like, well, then I have to choose classes. And I had all the bad classes because school started Monday. I had no idea about, what dual enrollment was, but I was just so excited to do it. Long and short of it, I signed up, finished my AA at the age of 18. I graduated high school with my AA. And I went into, my major was science.
Hold on, pause. You said you graduated with your associate's degree at what age?
18.
And that was free?
It was free money. Free, the best way. And I loved Valencia. It was such a great school. It was so intimate. And so when I turned 18, I had to go to UCF. So I'm a Knight, go Knights, graduated from the University of Central Florida with a bachelor's degree in health science, preclinical, and a minor in law. That was the story, and I loved it. And grad school, got into Johns Hopkins, was going to be a nurse practitioner. Life has it that great things kind of interjected itself in, and I didn't go. I paid for the seat and realized that East Baltimore was not for me. But I say that to say,
as a Philly kid, believe me, I know what you're talking about.
But I do say, when it's free, definitely take advantage of it. And that was the best thing I ever could have done. Once you go into like the graduate schools and you have to pay, you want to remember you need an ROI, return on investment.
Absolutely.
Is this degree I'm going to school for going to provide me a stable foundation to build whatever my ultimate goal is? There are some people that want to work throughout corporate forever and graduate, and retire and have a retirement. Some people do that. There's nothing wrong. And I really hope that this generation stops shaming workers and people who have careers. Like, that's not anything to be ashamed of. That is a beautiful thing. It's okay. Then there's others that are going to work and say, this is just for me to save enough money to invest in a business or something. And then you'll end up working 24 hours a day as an entrepreneur, but that works. It's what works for you. But you always want to give yourself that advantage. Don't disadvantage yourself by not taking the opportunity to go to school when you can.
Right. And you would definitely consider getting a good education a serious advantage. Definitely.
Absolutely. It's definitely not a disadvantage.
I agree. I think that in general, particularly in the entrepreneurial spirit, there are people say, well, such and such didn't go to college, look at him, or such and such didn't go to college, look at them. And what I always say to that, generally speaking, is that if you take a look at the typical person who does graduate, who does take their education seriously, they're almost always in a better place in life than those who don't. Yes, there are quote unquote exceptions to that, but generally speaking, you don't go wrong getting a good education, particularly if you do it the way you did, Marsha Elle, and it's free.
It's free. It's super important if you can to do that. And then also remember, when I used to teach high school for 2 years in the inner city. And I used to pay for, especially my male students, to go to college. I used to pay for the application fee. So that was not a hindrance. Why? Because one, an idle mind is the devil's workshop. And two, I wanted them to go to school and just meet people, network, find out what you like, what you don't like. You know how many times you change your major when you're doing the Gordon Rule classes? You're like, okay, I took this elective. Maybe this isn't me. Maybe this isn't me. Maybe I'll meet someone that's going to inspire me. Maybe I'll do a Steve Jobs and take 2 classes and say, you know what? I want to create a Macintosh. That's what I want to do. But you didn't limit yourself. You went and you were inspired. Any experience, I mean, you could do a 9 to 5 and just work, you can. And time is going to pass. Don't ever say, oh, it's going to be 8 years. No, the time, God willing, will lapse and you will have bettered yourself, whatever it is you choose to do, you know?
Absolutely. So, yeah. Absolutely. I always tell people, you get a lot more from college than just an education. The first time I would say I got truly kind of introduced to, in a lot of ways, Caribbean culture. I mean, I had heard dancehall, I had heard reggae prior to that. But the first time I really remember saying, I love this. I need to get more involved. I need to find out what these parties are like. I need to start going to more of them. I was in college or whatever. I got introduced to soca, to dancehall, to reggae, to some extent to bachata, merengue, salsa, and all that stuff. Just hanging out with people I was in college with. And I loved it because it literally it opened me up to a completely new world. I mean, to the point where I had so many new kind of cool experiences and stuff like that. And that's one reason why I got very serious about wanting to travel abroad and see what other countries were like, what other places were like, because that was college. Because I started hanging out with Nigerians, started hanging out with Serbians, I started hanging out with Russians and stuff like that. And it kind of opened my mind. So to anybody listening, I mean, there's a lot of people that want to poo-poo the importance of going to college. I don't do that on this channel. I tell you people, if you go to college, do it the way Marsha Elle did it, do it the way that I did it. Basically, figure out a way to do it in an inexpensive way. I did the scholarship route. Marsha Elle, she took advantage of the high school, again, an associate's degree route. So college is extremely important, and getting a good education is extremely important. And the experiences that you're gonna get from there and the people that you meet, it could literally last a lifetime. So moving forward. So that night that I kind of really got a chance to really kind of get to know you, Marsha Elle, like I said, you went to that stage and straight ripped it or whatever that night in Miami. That was actually the first time I actually saw your leg. And my first question to you is this: do you consider yourself disabled?
I do. I am a disabled bionic model, singer, songwriter. Because I do have one leg. That's a very true statement. I do believe that the stigma behind disability is what we're moving to change. There's really, the limit is really not the people that are disabled. It's usually the people that are abled who look at it, or who are quote unquote abled, who look at it with the stigma that society has put on there. But one thing I always say about disability, not one person has the same disability. And anyone in this world at any time can become disabled. So it's super important that in my work that I'm pushing accessibility, the importance of inclusion, and understanding that it doesn't limit me from doing what I love. And it doesn't limit a lot of disabled people from being creative and being innovative. People don't even know that Elon Musk has a intellectual disability. They don't know that. And he's brilliant. But I taught children with autism. And yeah, you'll call it a disability, but they were the brightest. Social interactions were a little different, but guess what? Quote unquote able-bodied people have not mastered social interactions either. So it's enough to say that they're the most genuine and bright characters that I've ever taught. So I do identify, and I had to learn to unlearn my ableism, because I used to think that, being disabled was a bad thing. I have one leg. That is God who gave me. I'm a congenital amputee. So I'm not going to take away from it, but I do remove the stigma from disability, because being bionic and being able to do all these wonderful things are just to show how great the hand of God is. and how anything is possible.
Absolutely. Let me ask you this. I have friends that are vets. They served this country, and unfortunately, they came back disabled. Do you think it's a difference between a person who was born, I'd say, with one leg or one arm versus a person who lost it in combat, or is it kind of still mentally the same thing? I'm just kind of curious about that.
That's a good question. I always say I'm a very privileged disabled person because this is my life. This is what and if you know me, you know I'm not a pity party person. And I've met so many people that even in my group of disabled friends that are just so amazing and vibrant. But a lot of the times when you lose your leg, or you lost it to cancer, you lost it to diabetes, whatever it is, you now have to relearn life. And I mean, I guess I can plug it in, but my nonprofit, Glow Unlimited, and it's unlimited with the word limb in it, is a non-for-profit that I created 3 years ago, where we are to teach people how to live life and life more abundantly with a disability. And we do that through means of, how, people always ask, I've had people stop me and I wouldn't even know they were amputees. Like, I lost my leg, but it doesn't fit well. And I'm like, oh, this is what you're gonna need to do. This is who you're gonna need to speak to. Because, so many clinicians, my doctor is not an amputee. So he's only trying to practice medicine as best as he can. But if I'm an amputee and I've been doing this for the last 20 years, I can tell you, okay, this is probably what's going on. This is why he's having phantom pains. I know how this is. This is what I use to kind of work it out. I want to create resources for them, and to know that they will live a full life. Thank you for your service. Don't feel as though your life is now less. Changing the stigma and making sure that the legislature that is passed, and that those who are writing these laws against bodies that are disabled are making sure that we have equity. Absolutely. Not equality, equity. That people that do come back from the service, or people who do lose their legs through medical means, or cancer, diabetes, whatever it is, they are given an opportunity to live a full life, not being restricted or forced into poverty, into different issues that I do address. And I have a great team of attorneys who are also very passionate about this. And the goal is to make, the future of disability bright. And that is my goal. So yes, it is completely different. I'm very privileged to have, this is what I know. But I'm hopeful that even people who do become disabled or are aging into disability will know that they will still have a great quality of life.
That's amazing. That is amazing. And just plug your nonprofit one more time. I think you said, what was it called again?
It's called Glow Unlimited.
Oh.
Yes, and I can send it to you if you want to write it in there, but glowunlimited.org.
It's all gonna be in the comments. So they can look at that and your IG, that and all your businesses with the Apple Music and everything. It'll all be in the comment section.
Awesome. Yeah. So check it out if you need any resources. Always feel free to send me any questions you can have, because we have a great community of people who are doing great things, and we're here to make your life better, for sure.
Absolutely. Earlier you said something I wanted to touch on. So I did model for a little bit. I basically, the biggest shows I was in was Philly Fashion Week and New York Fashion Week, but that wasn't really me. There was no money in it as far as the level I got to, so I got out of that very quickly. But you mentioned something earlier, Marsha Elle, what is a bionic model? Because when you said that, I was like, did I hear that correctly? What is a bionic model? Tell me about that.
Well, bionic model is a word that I kind of coined to describe me as a model. I'm an amputee. I'm an above the knee amputee. And I think it was one time a young girl was like, cause she walked up to, little kids, like, hey, so what happened to your leg? I was like, oh, I was born like that. Blah, blah, blah. He's like, so you're a robot? Didn't listen to any of I was born like that. And she's like, and I was like, maybe, I think so. I'm bionic. And I was like, that's what it's gonna be. I'm a bionic model. And ever since then, I've been on Vogue, New York Fashion Week, we've done Miami Swim Week, we've done a bunch of amazing campaigns. We recently just did a athletic campaign with Alicia Keys for her new line. This is can I tell you, when does this debut?
Absolutely.
We have a very big magazine coming out. So when you're in Target, you can go and pick it up. I don't know if I'm allowed to say it yet, but it's a very big magazine.
Got you.
And you guys will love this magazine because you guys are very health focused.
Got you. If it comes out after March 2022, don't worry. We will all be purchasing it and buying it. So yes.
You're mine. You're amazing. Thank you.
No, definitely. That's what it's about. I love seeing entrepreneurs, particularly when they share our complexion. I mean, so far you said you're a singer. You said you basically have at least 2 college degrees, at least 2. You run a nonprofit. You are a bionic model. I mean, like I said, this is a legit boss chick. This woman has over 5 jobs, and she's killing. She's doing extremely well at all of them. And I haven't even asked you about your 9 to 5. So I mean, this is amazing. I'm loving this conversation. I'm loving this conversation. As I said a little earlier, Marsha Elle, the first time I met you, basically you were singing on the stage pretty much, and it was very obvious that you had one leg. You weren't trying to hide it at all. Were you always that comfortable with, I would say, showing that portion of your body? Or did you try to cover it until a certain age or whatever?
Yeah, for sure. No, I actually, for the first time, wore shorts at the age of 23. I would say that I wasn't really ashamed of my body, but I was tired of the stares, the asking questions, people seeing my leg before they saw Marsha. And my mom was very conscious about that and didn't want my culture. They're very, I mean, in their ignorance, which albeit might have not been intentional, they stigmatize disability.
In the Haitian culture or the American culture?
In the Haitian culture. The American culture, they embrace it way more. I have to be very honest. Like, you have an amputee, someone's gonna, and you wanna do a sport, they're gonna send you money to get whatever device you need, and they're gonna say, I want you to go do something. They are very encouraging in this country for people who are disabled. Now, of course, there's a lot of work to be done on the technical legislature side. I would definitely say that the ADA laws and the laws that govern Social Security are very outdated, and that is something we're working on. But outside of that, there's a lot of love and charity for people who want to do great things, regardless of their abilities. So I will say that I did, in answering your question, it did take a long time because I did deal with a lot of bullying in school and then not knowing where I fit in. And so that's was a process. When I released my second album, Brave, I was like, well, it's kind of, hypocritical to say you're brave and you haven't shared this part with your fans who really want to listen to this album. And it was a very vulnerable album. So I said, you know what, my first cover, I'm going to show my leg. And it did wonderful, and people accepted it. And I did a collage of photos that would show this vulnerable part of me, and the world took that and fell in love with the progress that woman that became Marsha Elle.
That is a beautiful thing. That is a beautiful thing. Yeah, I'm blown away. I meet so many able-bodied people, Marsha Elle, who just complain and make excuses about life and complain about stuff. And I mean, it's kind of nice just hearing this and what you're saying. It inspires me myself to want to work harder. It inspires me to want to basically run my businesses a lot harder. It inspires me to want to work on my 9 to 5 a lot harder. So keep killing the game. Keep killing the game. All right, next question, because I want to make sure we keep moving. You have a lot of passions. You're a singer. You're a songwriter. You are a bionic model. I've heard you mention law school a couple times, and you also run at least one nonprofit. What do you feel the most alive doing, Marsha Elle? Because you have a lot of hobbies. What do you feel the most alive doing?
I definitely say alive would definitely be music when you're performing on stage because of the adrenaline rush. I mean, you prepare for weeks on end, you write the song, you sit, and then you literally are gonna, hey, up next is Marsha Elle. You get, the PA team telling you, hey, cue up, and you don't know what's gonna happen. You have 3 minutes to display the hard work that has been put in for the last 5, 6, 7 months. The adrenaline rush is nothing like it. And then when you finally close out with that last note and you hear the applause, I mean, it's chills, and it's like, oh my goodness, I did all of that for 3 minutes. You just run off stage. It's amazing. It's a good time. So definitely music and my advocacy work. I think that does give me a little bit of a tickle because it's all a part of my purpose, and yeah, I love it.
Got you. And just like you did the first time too, I saw you literally start to glint. I saw you start to shine. You were answering that question. That's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing.
Thank you.
Yep. So just moving down the list. This is something I see a lot of young ladies ask me, particularly because I deal a lot with finance, dating, relationships, stuff like that. What advice would you give young women today about their careers, about dating, and about balancing their professional life as well as trying to find a partner if that's what they want to do? What advice would you give them?
Balance. That's important. Young ladies, I would tell you to definitely, above all else, guard your heart, because out of it flows the issues of life, right? So no matter what, if you're dating, getting to know someone, make sure that you are very mindful of prioritizing your career, your passions, who you are. Make sure you're whole before you try to engage or try to find solace or some type of whatever feeling it is in a relationship, because there can be a lot of resentment if you end up finding out that I was trying to hold this relationship in lieu of me pursuing my dreams or in lieu of me doing good things. Like, you don't want to hate the person because, oh, I was with you and yeah, I loved you, but I never got anything done. So always prioritize yourself, your goals, because those are the things that God is giving you, like purpose, you know, and if you haven't found it yet, keep searching. The journey of finding it is fun too. And then balance, you know, it's hard to date and be busy. This is, as a very busy person, I hope that I always say I couldn't date someone that wasn't as busy as me, or I'd have to slow down, because then it would look like I'm ignoring the person, when in fact I'm not. But as long as you're busy doing your purposed work, you guys will work out. And so, yeah, don't put too much pressure or too much value in relationships, you know, as it relates to it taking place of other things that should be there, like a career, like your hobbies, things that you actually love too. So it keeps the relationship going too.
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. So you definitely believe that it's possible to have your man and to have your career. Absolutely. But you can't hold it over your partner's head if you don't get something done. So you have to very much be careful. Oh my God, I'm so, like, you're projecting on the partner, but it's only because you haven't been working on your craft, or you feel like, you know, so you just have to balance it and make sure that there's an even balance on what energy you're putting on to the relationship, and wait till you're like married, committed, before you put too much energy into something. Yeah. All right, got you. You and my wife are very, very good friends. And Reba, my wife, she's mentioned that you have a 5-year plan. Are you comfortable telling us a little bit more about that 5-year plan? Because I've never heard this. She told me to ask you this question.
For sure. Reba's a doll. I love her so much, and she's amazing. And I want to know what stage in life. So we've known each other for so long. I know that my 5-year plan, and I was just revising, actually writing the next 5 years, you know, God willing. But the goal was to retire from corporate, for sure. And still, I want to say retire from corporate. I personally want to retire from being dependent on corporate, because I actually love my corporate work. So I was able to I had to work with Marsha Elle, the brand. I had to work with Glow. I had to work with Zen Recruits. And so, you know, we're on Financiation. It was the goal. The goal was I saved probably 75% of everything I ever made. It's something crazy. You know, it sounds so crazy until you realize that we don't need as much as we think we do, and we can still live amazingly. So yeah, that's really that's the big one, is just being able to say, now I'm good. Like we're good. Like I never had a 40-year retirement goal. Like that sounded insane to me. When I was 18, they said, when is the retirement age? That's not going to be. So yeah.
Not feeling retiring at 65 on 40% of what you couldn't live on for 40 years, right?
Thank you.
No. Not feeling that. Nah, and I like the fact that you diversified your skill set, and on top of that, you're basically bringing in money from different places. That's a recipe for generational wealth, and for basically building generational wealth. Yep. All right. Just keep it moving. Bucket list. Do you have a bucket list, Marsha Elle? And if so, what is it?
I don't think I have a bucket list, but I do have a vision board that has a lot of fun things on there. And I do a vision board every year. And right on my vision board, it said I'm going to book gigs internationally. And I just booked my first gig internationally like 4 days ago. Yeah.
What country?
We're going to Colombia. We're going to work on a project in Colombia. So I'm super humbled about that. That was always my goal, was like, I love to travel, but I love to travel for work. I like to travel with purpose, and to be able to do both, can't beat a workcation. I love it. So that's that. And then bucket list, maybe get married. I don't know if that's a bucket list thing, but we'll probably throw that in there. I want to go to South Africa. I would like to go to all the countries in Africa, actually, to be honest. I think it's just we all know it's not the most amazing continent. It's so rich in
motherland. Yep.
Everything is the motherland. So I really want to do that. And bucket list outside of that. Yeah, be a billionaire next year. Let's see what happens. Crazy things, that's on my bucket list. I like to think big.
That's what you got.
Billionaire with a B.
If your dreams don't scare you, that means they're too small. So definitely. Yeah, one of my most iconic memories in my life actually was riding a camel through the Sahara Desert, watching the sunrise over the Great Pyramid. Time literally froze when that happened. So I'm telling you, Egypt, Africa.
Egypt? Okay.
Yeah, Egypt and Africa is one of those places. I want to go back. Actually, I want to check out Nigeria as well. But yeah, you're gonna love Africa when you get there. It's very familiar, and when you're there, it feels like you're home. So, yep.
Okay, definitely get that. Thank you.
Cool. All right. Well, we are coming to a close. Marsha, like I said, I don't want to waste too much of your time. We're coming to a close, but I do have one last question for you. I've got some questions online I want to ask you as well. But before we do that, you're a singer. From this conversation, I've gathered so far that you're a singer, you're a songwriter, you're a model, you're an entrepreneur. You're doing a lot of powerful things, Marsha Elle. And legacy-wise, when a guy calls you home and he says, "Okay, I want you to come to heaven with me," what do you want your legacy on earth to be?
Great question. I would like for them to say that she was everything that God said she would be. Everything that, to emphasize, God said she would be. And there are going to be a lot of naysayers. I remember just having an encounter with God very young at the age of 12. And I remember specifically in this encounter, he was like, the very thing you're asking for me to take away, which is your disability, is what I'm going to use to make you great. And my mom, that night I had went to a Benny Hinn conference because that was what I wanted. And I came home and I was the same. Mind you, I'm 12. So I don't know any better. And I just remember crying the entire night. And I remember the voice of God was very clear. And that's what he said. And so that's why even going through life, I was never fazed, because after that encounter, it was like, I know God is real. And this is what he told me. So
absolutely.
Was I anticipating this? This is everything I thought it would be. I knew it would be, because that was my encounter very young. So that's what my legacy should be.
I love it. Just so anyone who's listening, Benny Hinn, basically he had the reputation for healing people's disabilities, for healing people's sicknesses and stuff like that. And I'm assuming that you pretty much went to that conference because you wanted him to touch your leg and to make it whole, if I were to guess. And when that did not happen, you were disappointed. And then God told you the very thing that you think is a curse, I'm gonna turn that into a blessing that I'm gonna use to basically allow it to bless you and then bless the rest of the world with it.
That's exactly what he said. And look at him showing out.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. All right, cool. Before I ask these two questions, where can people find you first off? So shout out to your, if you can put IG, if you want to put the business names, like where can people find you? How can they reach out to you?
Okay, you can follow me on Instagram, Marsha Elle Music, Twitter, Facebook, everything is Marsha Elle Music. You can go to marshaellemusic.com and you'll find all the links there. glowunlimited.org is the non-for-profit where you can find resources, reach out to me, to anyone on our team, where you can find information to just make this journey a little easier for you if you're new to, maybe being an amputee or disabilities. We have information. If you want to support and help, please also go inbox us, send us an email, and see how you can also bring your voice. We need a lot of able-bodied people to also stand up. 20% of the world is disabled. So, and in given COVID and other, we're in the middle of whatever the heck is going on right now. A lot of people may be injured, and disability is something that we need to make sure that there's home and stability for these people when they're coming back home. So yes, do that. And Zen Recruits, that's my other thing. I recruit people and make sure that they have equitable work. That is the goal of all that I do. And Zen Recruits is giving full benefits. We give and refer people to primarily people with disabilities work, equitable work, good pay, and that's where you can find me.
Got you. Okay, cool. I love it. And like I said, 2 questions that people have asked me. First question is, I am a short guy. I am 5'2", 180 pounds. Most women tell me that I am fat. I do factory work and I've never made more than $30,000 a year, and I can't get women to talk to me. You seem very positive and you have a very good outlook on life. What advice would you give me, Kim, so that I can have women like you talk to me?
That is so cute. Did the person really write that?
He really wrote that, yep.
Okay.
He's 5'2", 180. He's never made more than $30,000 a year. Women don't respect him. What advice would you give him?
First, I'm going to start and say that you are valuable. You have a job, and you have most important thing is you have life, which means that anything that you want to do. First off, I don't like that you use the word fat. That means that I would prefer that you say I've not been consistently listening to Reba and reading your nutrition book, Chris, and been working towards that. If that's something you don't like, of course, love your body. If you feel that you're looking at it in a negative way, there are so many ways to fix that, right? You're a factory worker. I'm so happy that you have a job. You are vital. You are part of this chain that we need. If it's not for you, we wouldn't have these cups, these bottles, whatever factory you work in, you are part of our essential workers. So kudos to you. Personality is important, most important. I'm definitely not a gold digger. I'm a goal, GOAL type of digger person. I need a person that's very ambitious in whatever area it may be. It doesn't necessarily have to be in business. It could be in philanthropy. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you're making a lot of money doing it, but you're passionate about making the world a better place. So, I don't look at those external factors as something negative. You just got to make sure that you have character and personality. That's really important.
Absolutely. Bruh, if I were going to answer this question, I would say this, hire a personal trainer. I myself am a personal trainer. I've trained everybody from professional UFC fighters to the proverbial soccer moms to the general population. A lot of people poo-poo on personal trainers. My advice is, if you're not comfortable with your weight, and I don't think that you are based off of what you just been saying, basically hire a personal trainer. As far as your job, if you think $30,000 is not enough money, if women don't approach you because of that, this is America, bro. You can literally level up. You can do anything. So if you want to stay in the factory world, talk to your shift supervisor and be like, okay, I want to get into management. How do I what do I need to do? What certifications do I need to do? What kind of hours do I need to work to get a promotion? If you're not really the blue collar type dude, if you want to basically go the college route, basically you can be a scientist, you can be a technology, you can go into technology, you can go into engineering, you can go into math, you can become a lawyer, you can become a doctor. This is America. You can literally do anything that you want. If you're not feeling the white collar route, if you're not feeling the college route, electricians, plumbers, carpenters, these brothers all literally start around $50,000. Within 2 years, they're at 75 or 80. And within 5 to 10 years, these guys are making well over $100,000. Never crap on blue collar workers. So basically, my answer to you, I would say, is level up, basically. So take care of your body, basically take care of your money, and make sound financial choices. And I would also say, basically, have some confidence, man. So, I mean, women like a confident dude. So have some confidence, and basically shoot your shot. At the end of the day, there's a lot more.
Shoot your shot. A lot of people don't shoot their shot and are shocked that they don't get any play. And shoot your shot at the right women. That's very smart too. Got you.
What financial things would you tell me to invest in, and or books would you tell me to read? That's the next question.
Invest in. Well, I am not a financial advisor, so everything here used would just be for educational purposes only. But I would say definitely to tech, to indexes. Keep yourself on even. Don't take too many chances, especially given the current climate. Yes. Can't really go wrong with the Apple or Microsoft. You really can't go wrong with the technology. But I always say, have something, if nothing, get a little Roth IRA going, just do something for the and then continue to grow in your knowledge of what your finances can do, because my mom raised 5 kids, never making more than $25,000. And we all had college degrees, the ones that are in college, we made it to the age of college. And my mom bought us all our first vehicles. Like, she did a lot with that little money. So don't limit yourself. And books. Right now, I am really into tech books. I've been reading a lot on artificial intelligence, so that's probably not going to be most fun. But I would say everyone should read The Alchemist.
Great book.
I really like that book, just to start, because so many of us have been kind of choked into the American dream and are not dreamers anymore, or don't understand how really the world, when you are so relentless, which is really my story. When you are so relentless, I'm like, people don't believe that I'm a model. If I told someone 10 years ago, I'm 5'4", I am 160 pounds, I'm short, I'm curvy, that I have one leg, I'm Black, that I'm going to be on the cover of Vogue or Women's Health or whatever, you wouldn't believe me. And guess what? I don't blame you. It doesn't make sense. I'm 5'4". So I can't be mad at when people used to be like, okay, why is she always taking pictures and practicing her craft and stuff? People didn't understand the purpose of it. But sometimes you need to be so relentless and believe in yourself that the universe itself is going to be like, here, because she's just not giving up. He's not giving up, so we're gonna give it to you. That's the type of relentless energy you need to have. So definitely read The Alchemist. It's a very good book to really break out of that shell you're in and dream. So yeah.
Absolutely. And yeah, like you said, Marsha Elle, I agree with literally everything that you get on saying. The Alchemist is a great book. If I were to answer that question, I would say if you're in corporate America, max out your 401k. The reason why, max out your 401k up to your employer's match. Why? Because that is free money. That is the freest and easiest way to make money in America if you work in corporate America. So basically, if your company has a 401k match, whatever that match is, what I advise everybody to do basically is to match up to that. And just like Marsha Elle said, you'll never go wrong with a good Roth IRA. So those are 2 quick little financial tidbits I would give anybody. And readers, and as far as reading books, the 5 a.m., I would say basically read the book, The 5 a.m. Club or whatever, just because I truly believe that people who get up early, and I know not everybody's a morning person. I personally am a 3:30 a.m. kind of guy. Well, I know not everybody's gonna get up that early, but the 5 a.m. Club is a phenomenal book. And another book I would tell everybody to read is The Richest Man in Babylon. That book is about 6,000 years old, and it's kind of crazy because the financial principles inside of it are still very applicable today. So I would say if you start with those 3 books, you'll be all right, believe me, on your financial journey. So yep. So like I said, first off, before we exit this conversation, I have had a blast in this conversation, Marsha Elle. So thank you for that. Is there anything you would like to say before we get up out of here?
I just want to say thank you for having me. Thank you for being a motivational Black man, educated Black man who is bringing information to the platform, using whether it be Instagram, whether it be YouTube. We need to see a lot of more voices using these technologies to bring good information to the forefront. So kudos to you, because I know you're a busy man as well.
Hey, that's what it's about, right? My ancestors did not have a chance to do any of this stuff, so I need to be doing all of it. All stuff they couldn't do, I'm trying to do it now. So, yep. All right, with that, like I said earlier today, here at Financipation, pretty much this channel is all about making money. It's all about saving money. It's all about building generational wealth, and it's all about financially emancipating yourself from generational poverty. And that's what I want our community to do a lot more of. So thank you, Marsha Elle. I can't wait to see you again. Definitely can't wait to hang out with you and all your peoples again. My wife, she literally raves about you every chance that we talk about you. So with that, take care, okay? Take care, everybody. Yep. Please like, please comment, please subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one, okay? Take it easy. Peace.